Hello humans, welcome back to my channel. If you're new to my channel, shape and polish gemstones using a drum roll, if that's something that interests you, please consider subscribing. Today we're going to be working on this beautiful piece of blue-green opal from Lightning Ridge, and it's got a great color bar in there, but you can see it's a little potchy on either side. When we weigh it out, it is 2.63 carats, and when we measure it, it's 13.5 by 9.5 by 4 millimeters. So if you guys want to see how this stone gets shaped and polished, keep on watching. So starting out on my 110 grit diamond sintered bit that I got from Suva Lapidary here, I'm taking off the jagged edges around it just a little bit and kind of grinding down to try to expose the color bar on the side of the stone. The color bar is not visible. It's a pretty thick color bar, and I have pretty high hopes for it turning out into a stone. But at this point in time, I'm not quite sure the size of the stone that I'll be able to get, so I really am counting on that side being exposed to determine what kind of setting I'll be able to fit it into. So you can see here, I'm just barely starting to see the color bar, and it does have a little bit of the potch running through it. So I think that I will be able to fit either an 8mm oval or a 7x5mm oval, both of which I have settings for. So I took my guide from 53 Frogs and drew that on there, and then I took down the sides going up to those lines that I drew and started trying to flatten out the face a bit, trying to grind through that potch to expose the true flash of the color bar. And the way that I chose which side of potch to keep on the base of the stone or which side to carve away is one of the lines of potch was just ever so slightly darker than the other one, so I decided to make that the base of it, since this is so crystal as well. And on top of that, the ever so slightly darker color bar, or not color bar, bar of potch was the thicker bar of potch as well, so it gives us more carats to save. So almost getting through to the color bar here. This is what it's looking like, and you can see that on that one side the potch does run through pretty deep, but there should be good color in there once I get that away. So I'm just continuing to sort of take that down, moving in a circular motion, kind of focusing on the edges of the stone before I work my way into the middle, because that potch reaches down on the edge of the stone on that one side. I'm not so sure if it's gonna reach through in the middle or if the middle's gonna be clean, so it's really a big gamble right now, and I might end up making it a smaller oval just to be able to save the stone without having a lot of potch in the color bar. And since it's so crystal, that potch will be very apparent and a little distracting, so I really want to do everything that I can to keep that from being in the finished product. So I did end up taking the sides down just a touch, and this is what we have at this point in time. And you can see that there is still a little bit of that potch left. The shape isn't the best right now, but see that potch in the edge there, but the color bar is rather nice. It does have some good blues and greens going on, but we've really got to get rid of that little white potch there. So I chose to go and take that off on the black Nova point here, because with such a small stone, I know that the black Nova point will do a good job at taking that out. So I actually worked on bringing in the edges quite a bit more on this Nova point, because I knew that that would kind of help us keep some height of the dome. And moving on to the brown Nova point, it was around this point that I was actually able to get that potch out. But as I'm working through these Nova points, I'm checking to make sure that I'm not grinding the color bar down too much, that I'm getting a good polish on it, and that the shape is turning out well. And so in the shaping stages, I'm kind of working at an angle around the edges and then working in a circular motion in towards the middle to get the good dome shape that I'm looking for. And these last two Nova points are really going to set the foundation for the polish that you'll be able to get. So you really want to pay a lot of attention on the gray and the pink Nova points as far as drying it out and making sure the polish looks good. So at this point, this is what it looks like. You could see that it has a pretty good pre-polish going on. The back is pretty alright. I was able to save a good amount of the color bar all the way around. So it's time to move on to my polishing paste, which you can just go in with cerium oxide for this. All of these polishing paste steps, cerium oxide will do the job. I just like to use these polishing pastes because I'm used to them and I like the finish that it gives. But if you are going to be working on a stone this small with the polishing paste, or even with the cerium oxide, you're probably going to want to dop it. I still, at this point, did not have my dopping wax because I film these videos multiple stones at a time. So I definitely recommend dopping. This time I decided to wing it and just use my hand. And I didn't drop it too many times, but the way that I do it is I grip it with my ring finger, so the way that I will hold it is I will grip it firmly with my thumb against my index finger and my middle finger, and I will use the control that I have with that to kind of turn it around by kind of moving my middle finger as the friction to turn it. And sometimes I will grip the base of the stone firmly with my thumb against my middle finger and use the friction of the Dremel tip to push it against my finger and kind of move back and forth. And I'm always kind of working in circular motions to make sure that I'm getting all the edges of the stone and the sides of the stone, and I am grinding down the pad of my index finger as well as my fingernails as I'm doing this, and sometimes I'll grind it down so much that my finger starts to bleed. So that's something to keep in mind when you're doing it in this method. And usually if I get my finger ground down so much that it bleeds, it's on the either the Nova points or my first bit. So that's something to keep in mind. But this is what the finished stone looks like, guys, and you can see it has some great greens and teals going on. And when we measure it, it is 7.8 millimeters by 5.9 millimeters and 2.39 millimeters tall. And when we weigh it out, the finished weight is 0.8 carats, maybe 0.79. So we did end up losing a total of 1.84 carats, so we did lose the majority of the stone. But you got to keep in mind that that potch was really getting in the way, and we're lucky to have gotten a good stone at all. And it may not have those oranges and reds, but I'm very happy with the shape. I really like the green teal kind of colors going on. I was thinking of maybe making a bracelet sometime. I originally wanted to fit this to a ring, but in trying to take the potch away, I just made it far too small for the ring, so it won't fit that anymore. But it will have a good setting to go into, and I do think it's beautiful, and I'm very happy with the final results. I really hope you guys enjoy this video. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button and let the algorithm know that my video was enjoyable to you. Subscribe if you're not subscribed already and you're already here. You may as well subscribe. Leave a comment if you have anything to say. I really appreciate any comments that you guys want to leave. Share this with a friend and help make our community stronger and bigger and better. And I'll see you guys next time that I post a video. Later.